Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of beautiful music, songs that you would describe with positive descriptors such as lovely or gorgeous, wonderful. Today we're going to be checking out some Weyes Blood. The song is Generation Y. Came out in October of 2016. Looks like it comes from an album that was released the same month. Let's dive into the video for it, see what Weyes Blood is bringing to the table today. Some fun digitization, especially on the left side.
See end of days. I've been hanging on my phone all day, and the fear goes away. I might not need to stay on this sinking ship for long. I can give it away every day. I can fly and spend all my seconds.
That descending digital, synth line was a little unsettling.
It's not the past that scares me. This is gonna be.
The slide into that just to descend down from it. Yeah, a little bit of melancholy to that. The subtle crescendos on the synths on the outside, just enough to be heard, but not enough to bring attention to itself. Bit of like an organ solo here. Very much a bit of a solo. I'm trying to figure out if these are synths on the outside or digitized vocals. So it's been a very loose sense of time throughout this track, and here very heavy set, like every other beat, every other group of three. That's what it is. Because we're in 6/8. So many layers to this too. That's the wild part. And I think it's all vocal layers. I mean, of course there's the piano off on the side, but into a fade out. Is this... Y'all think this is part of the song? Or is this just added for the video credits? Yeah, this is fantastic. The first thing I gotta bring up is the vocal work. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've said this before when talking about Weyes Blood, but the vocal work is great. You never really get a sense that there's any sense of overdoing it, any sort of like spectacle on display. There's certainly pop stars that like to show off their range and technical ability and vocal dexterity in most of their songs, or at least maybe most of their singles. But I don't really get that with Weyes Blood. But here's the cool thing, right? There is a lot of technical elements to it. They're just more subdued. They're muted in a way. There are some really cool lines in here that just sound so effortless. In fact, during the chorus itself, sliding into that Y, holding it with that very wide mixed head chest voice, and then bringing it back down. I mean, that is not easy, but it sounds simple. And that's what I really like. There's this hidden level of talent that I find in this song cropping up often. But then there's also all of the pitch technicality of basically forming all of these layers on the outskirts of this song by hand. I mean, yeah, we have lots of software that will create chords for you, and maybe that's what's happening here. They're already very digitized. They've already been altered in some ways, so it's possible that it was just some software doing it. But I like to give the benefit of the doubt where I can. I'm going to assume that the vocalist layered up all of these chords themselves. That's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and you really got to have the intonation down because you're creating this sense of, dang, how do I explain? It's a very warm, orangey tint to everything. It's, it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of the chords I was getting, particularly towards the end of the song, right before the large ending, when we kind of elevated all of this intensity. But right before that, it's intense in a lot of ways. I think there is a tension to it, but there's also a beauty to it, and also I don't know, an element of wistfulness. It feels orangey, not in a way that feels comfortable or warm in the present, but like that sort of warmer color that memories can have when you think about something that was positive in the past. I don't know if that's the same for everyone. It just dawned on me, maybe not everyone has orange memories of the past. That's a weird thing to think about. You ever think about that sometimes? That people, their brains work different than yours, like their experience of living and memory and how they think about things and calculate and do mental things is like totally different from the way you do yours. Like, I don't know, that blows my mind. Anyways, back to the music. Orange Memories. That's what this song feels like to me. That's going in the title for this video, isn't it? The Orange Memory song. No one's gonna get it. All right. So anyways, vocal dexterity, vocal skill, intonation, all of this, it's one of the things that I think is a corner. Now, granted, I've only heard like 2 tracks from this artist. I definitely need to dive into more, but it is what I'm starting to pick up as a pattern on this artist, is this subdued skill, something that they show off in measured ways, where if you know what to listen for, if you know where difficulty is in the instrument, in this case, the voice, you can find, oh, this song's actually, deceptively difficult, or deceptively easy. How would you say? It seems easier to do than it is. Whatever phrase matches that. I don't know why I can't think about that right now. Like I said, though, I think that's one thing that's always stood out to me with this, or a pattern I'm beginning to see with this artist, is difficulty in the vocals, but making it sound easier than it is. And this song, I think, is no different. And the choice to go for so many vocal layers rather than continue to use the synths and the piano that we hear, which would have a generally similar sound because we're already digitizing the voices anyways. And to say, you know what, I'm going to take the harder route on this, it's going to add to it. I'm really glad they went that direction. There's also, though, what does the digitization of the vocals mean? What is it supposed to represent? I don't think this is something I'm going to be able to answer until we get to the lyrics and start to see what this song is about. But I do think it's interesting that the lead vocals are generally, they sound untouched. They don't have that digitized sound to them. Now, I'm sure there's all sorts of production stuff because this certainly isn't raw vocals, but it has that feeling of being closer to what was originally recorded. It doesn't sound like a robot or like a synthesizer like some of the outskirt vocal harmonies do. So there is this purposeful choice to differentiate the lead vocals from the harmonizing vocals. Why? I'm really curious about that, especially when later on we bring in a piano. Straight up piano. And why is that acoustic when so much of this song has synthesizers in it? What is it about these more acoustic sounds that sit in the center of the digital ones? That's something that was like on my mind the entire song and something I'm continuing to think about. The other division we have here is something that I think alludes to that sort of past waviness that makes me think this song feels very like memories, is that there really isn't a strong sense of rhythm to the song. I honestly want to go back and see what the time signature is for the majority of this track, because 3 or so minutes into the song, we finally get a hard pulse, a hard rhythmic element to the track. The piano comes in and gives us these accentuated hits. Now, I said the song's in 6/8. That was a gut reaction. You can certainly count this song in 6/8, at least the back third of this track. But what if it isn't? What if we're looking at a song in triplets? Da 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 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. You're still getting that 6/8 feel, but we're actually in 4/4. You got the 1 2 3 4. I ask this because I never quite caught a triplet vibe at all on this track until that piano came in, and I initially even felt it as 4. And I think I mentioned that the piano is emphasizing every other beat, and I was like, oh wait, no, dude, this is groups of 3. The first beat of every group of 3, so it's 6/8. But I'm kind of curious, what if it is in 4/4? So now we have this division Not only just in the time there, is it 4? Is it 6? But also the fact that most of this song, I never even thought about rhythm at all. It just doesn't exist. Of course, it's there. The song has a tempo, it has a meter. All the instruments are working together in a rhythmic pulse. It doesn't feel cluttered and disjointed. There is a time signature, but it didn't matter. It wasn't a forefront thought for me. This is a song that feels like floating, on the ocean in particular, not like in a pool. Got to have the waves. That's what this song feels like. You're just kind of chilling. You're not really paying attention to the rhythmic pulse of the waves or anything like that. You're just floating, thinking about stuff, lost in your thoughts. That's what this song feels like to me. Up until that ending point and you snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. No, we're not doing that today. And the beat comes in heavy. And this is where the song starts to elevate too, where it gets more intense. It's still dreamlike on the outskirts, but very present and physical in the center, where the focus is at. What is this supposed to represent? Why here? Why not? Is it just contrast? The song didn't have a rhythmic pulse, and that was getting boring, so let's put a rhythmic pulse in it. I choose not to believe that. Maybe that is exactly how and why it came about. A change was needed, they made a change. But as usual, I try to find deeper meaning in it. I think these are the two things I'm primarily going to be looking at thematically in the lyrics, is trying to figure out why all of this division exists in the music. It does take us to the ending, though. We fade out. A never-ending element, cyclicality. Maybe it's implied that this physicality, this being in the present, is going to be something we'll continue to do moving forward. That this wistfulness that we have, this longing for the past that took us into our memories, is something that we're trying to avoid. We're now going to live in the here and the now, the physicality of space. Could also imply cycles in general, though. What if eventually we do go back to the memory part? After all, the end of the song, the end of the music video, is field recordings of wind running across a microphone. I think that works for either or. Could be the here and now, could be a memory, even particularly looking at the music video. What if it's focusing on the memories of making this video itself, being in the present then and not being able in the present now? I don't know. I feel like I'm getting way too deep into this one. Have I touched on everything I wanted to talk about musically, though? I know this was a pretty theme-heavy analysis, but we talked about the vocals, we talked about harmony, we talked about the emotion of the song. Yeah, I think we touched on all of it. The technicality of the vocal lines. Yeah, let me hit some lyrics here and see what's going on. First of all, I do want to talk about the structure of this song, at least lyrically. We have verse 1, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus. This is wild, because if we just assume both verses to be the verse, right? And we give that the A section. The chorus is the B section, pretty standard. Usually we would go A, B, C, B. But here we just do A, B, C, B. And we skip that second chunk. We just gut out the middle and turn this into a much more focused, like laser honed version of this song. The chorus doesn't feel as repetitive as it could be, especially with the simplicity of the chorus lyrically, because we only hear it twice. Technically 3 times. It is the intro line as well, but it's with that digitized voice that I didn't really know we were listening to the chorus at the time. Interestingly, usually when you use the chorus as the intro to a track, it's to get that hook into the listener's mind before they actually listen to it. Or I say before they actually get into the song, so that it gets stuck in their head. Even if they turn away from the song after just that intro, there's a chance it'll be stuck in their mind. They'll think about it later and they'll come back to the song later in order to try to get it out of their head, right? The old earworm trick way of writing music. That's not why it's used here, though. I think that's really interesting. The words themselves are obscured by the production of it. Another interesting thing is that the intro states the chorus line once, the first chorus states the line twice, the third chorus and final states it 3 times. It expands every time. I think musically it also expands every time as well. We don't just repeat it more, but there's more things going on in the music and more emotional weight to it. I think it's a nice form of recontextualizing an idea and kind of looking at a concept of repetition of motif, but allowing it to mean something different every time it comes back. Really strong writing on it from that end. Now, what is this song saying, though? The chorus, the intro, the outro, it says YOLOY, which creates a palindrome, which is kind of cool, but it's not technically a palindrome. We have YOLO, which is YOLO, which 2016, maybe YOLO was still a thing. I don't remember, man. That feels like a century ago at this point. I don't think people were saying YOLO in 2016, but it was definitely something that my generation, millennials, said. Stands for You Only Live Once. It was a motto that I think cropped up in hip hop first, and then just kind of swept my generation, and everyone was saying it, and it was basically a thing to reinforce why you would do something. Maybe something a bit expensive, maybe luxurious, maybe dangerous. You only live once, bro. Why would you pass up this opportunity, right? You know, if you die tomorrow, are you going to regret not doing this? YOLO! So we have that. But the first letter is, of course, Y. And we end it with the word Y, W-H-Y. So the chorus here states YOLO, you only live once. Why? And I don't know what this is supposed to mean. Am I supposed to take this at face value? Why do we only live once? That seems ridiculous, to be honest. And I don't think it has a lot to say about the song, what the rest of the lyrics are doing thematically. But if we take it at the phrase that you should do anything you have an opportunity to do because you might not have a chance to do it again because you need to live your life to the fullest, and this questions why for that, I think that introduces some interesting philosophical questions. Should we live a safer, longer life, maybe with less luxuries, less opportunities, or one a bit more dangerous and carefree because death comes for us all anyways? Interestingly, though, I don't know that the rest of the lyrics support that one either, and I'm really just kind of wondering what Weyes Blood meant by this. What is it about this that works? The palindrome is interesting. We also have it coming back to the title of the song, Generation Y. Again, the word, but implying the letter again. Generation Y is, of course, the technical term for millennials. We tend to go from A to Z, and now we're moving into alpha and beta. We're moving into the Greek alphabet, but there's always a colloquial term, you know, baby boomers, the forgotten generation, the silent generation, millennials, zoomers. So Generation Y is my generation. It's the millennials. But here it's the question, the idea that our generation is asking the questions, why? And I really thought that that meant this song was going to explore the ideas of, you know, why is all of this happening? You know, my generation has seen several once in a lifetime economic disasters. How you can have several once in a lifetime events in the same area, I don't know, but whatever. I guess that just talks about how they used to be pretty rare and now they're becoming more common. Um, we have all sorts of scientific discoveries about things that are damaging. We have all of the climate culture stuff going on. We have more, or it seems like worse weather than ever. The temperatures are higher than they've ever been. We have record highs seemingly every year as far as temperatures go. There's all sorts of things that we can ask. Why here? Why now? Why so much hardship for this generation as we came into adulthood? I thought that's what it was going to be exploring, maybe a political perspective on being a millennial living in 2016. I don't know that it's that either. There's a lot of really good wordplay going on here, some nice puns leading into palindromes. Like, it works, but I don't see any substance to it. I'm really curious what the YOLOY means. We get to the verses. Going to see the end of days. I've been hanging on my phone all day. Yeah, doom scrolling. Like, that is a very millennial. I'm sure lots of other generations do it, but this was part of our growing up. Our entry into adulthood was scrolling through social media for the first time, hopefully. Actually, no, yeah, pretty much. We didn't have social media as kids. That's something we have to worry about with the new generations. But being introduced to social media, which started out as a fun place to just share thoughts, and now it's run by, well, not run by, but now it's heavily associated with the news. You have reporters, you have news stations, you have publications on TikTok, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Reddit. It's almost impossible to go to any of these outside of a curated feed and not find some depressing news about what's going on in the world. So it says, I've been hanging on my phone all day. The world is just spiraling out around me. She says, but the fear goes away. I might not need to stay on this sinking ship for long. And I'm really curious about what this is supposed to mean. Is this an understanding that maybe the end of days is right around the corner and everything seems bad right now, but the sun will swallow the planet soon, relatively, and I don't have to worry about it anymore? Or is this saying that hanging out on the phone makes you feel like everything's better? Does the fear go away because you're not doom scrolling, because you're just looking at pictures of cute kittens all day? Is this ignorance is bliss? Or is this a nihilistic view of the world? I'm really not sure. It's too vague, I think, to really read specifically in one way or the other. Verse 2 doesn't really lean one way or the other. It says I can give it away every day. I can fly and spend all of my seconds like they're my last. Going with that YOLO thing. You don't know if you're going to die tomorrow, so you might as well live every moment like it's your last. It says I can do that. I can give away everything in my day to these experiences. She says, but it's not the past that scares me. She's not worried about regret of missing out on things. And at this point, I was like, oh, we're going to reach a nice conclusion. The next line is, now what a great future this is going to be. And once again, is this nihilistic? Is this sarcastic? Millennials are well known for our sarcasm. Is it she's saying that the past doesn't scare her because the future does? But let me say it sarcastically. What a great future this is going to be ahead of us. That's why the past doesn't scare me. I don't know. I really want to go back and listen to those lines. I should have done that anyways. I don't know why I didn't. I want to hear the inflection in those lines. I don't remember too much of this song not feeling sincere on one level or another. There's nothing in here where, the vocal inflection shifts to anything that is obviously quirky or sarcastic or tongue-in-cheek or anything like that. At least not that I remember. So what's going on with that line? The bridge states, I used to think it was bad that we were all going mad, but now it's fine to leave. Goodbye, those old things. Carry me through the waves of change. Carry me on the waves of change. I know my place. It's a beautiful thing. And this really throws me for a loop, because this seems to say what I was kind of worried about earlier. This isn't nihilistic. This isn't sarcastic. This seems to be ignorance is bliss. Everything used to look really bad. I'd see all the terrible news on my phone, but it's not. The future is going to be great. We just got to leave all that negativity in the past. Just allow yourself to be carried through the waves of change, being carried on the waves of change. As long as you know where you belong, life's gorgeous. Life's beautiful. What? What? I don't understand this at all. I really want someone to have another perspective on these lyrics. I want Weyes Blood to jump into the comments and say, this is what I was talking about. I need to read an interview of what's going on here. I don't care. I don't care if it's another, audience interpretation of it. I don't care if it's authorial intent. I need another perspective on this, because what? I don't know, man. I'm so lost, and it's kind of infuriating. I love the music. I love the vibes I was getting with the music. None of that's really touched on in the lyrics at all. There's so much thematic dissonance between the two, as far as I can tell. We kind of are leaning into this split idea that we saw in the music here, about feeling one way but wanting to feel another, not really being certain about our future as a race, or maybe as a race of humans, by the way. Let me put it that way, as a sci-fi term, whatever. Like, as humans though, what is our future? Is it this nihilistic, we're going to destroy ourselves, or can we come back from this? Is there a brighter side to the future? And I don't know, dude. I don't get any of that in the ending. The ending just sort of solidifies things as ignorance is bliss, and the music, I mean, it kind of can be read that way, but I was really hoping that the ending, as physical and focused as it was going to, I don't know, have something that resonated with me more. And I think that's what I'm most upset about. I heard the song. I heard music that really worked for me. I felt like I was represented in the music. And then I read the lyrics, and they're not for me at all. These are my thoughts. Weyes Blood, Generation Y. What are your thoughts? Did you enjoy this? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said, or correct me on? Do you have your own perspective on this track, your own opinion or interpretation of it? Please put all of that and any other thoughts you have down into the comments section. I don't want to leave this, man. I don't have anything else to say. I don't think. I started repeating myself, and that's usually a good time to call it quits. But I really want this to make sense to me. I was just like, as I paused, I was reading the lyrics again. I was like, did I miss something? Is there like a key to all of this? No, at least not that I'm picking up on. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.